welcome to the Verb Circus. My name is Kyle Miller, and it's Monday. That's right, it's our first class of the week, which means new guests. New guests on the program. It's always exciting. New guests, but we do have a familiar face. Mamen is here. Mamen, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good, and Mamen, how do we know each other?
We met last year at 4.0.
Exactly. Mamen was one of the stars of the 4.0 course.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy the filming, Mamen?
Yes, I have a great time. Yeah.
So,
I had a great time. Yeah.
Well, what do you think about the Verb Circus? Do you think you're going to have fun here this week?
Yes. Yes, I've been watching the program this week, and I found it fantastic.
Good.
Yes, I got hooked on it.
Nice. You got hooked on it.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Yes, it's true.
I'm sure you're going to be a great guest. I'm sure you're going to do great.
I'll try.
Who do you have with you today, Mamen?
She's Claudia.
Claudia, yeah, okay. Claudia, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good. And this is your debut on Aprender Inglés TV, right? Your first show?
That's true.
Are you excited to be here?
Yeah, kind of nervous, but yeah.
Okay, so Mamen, ask her why she wants to improve her English.
Claudia, what do you want? Why do you want to improve your English?
Because I love English and I love traveling around, so I think it's quite necessary to...
Yeah. When you speak English well, it opens a lot of doors, right, in terms of traveling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we're going to choose our verb soon, but first, because this is the first show of the week, let's take a look at our ranking. So we'll take a look at the ranking of all the guests so far and the points that they have accumulated. So the ranking here so far, our leader is, let's see, Pilar Gutierrez Alonso with 410 points, a very good score, 390, 385. Some other people with high scores as well, so hopefully you can do just as well. That's what you're looking for, 410, the high score. Okay, so let's get started by choosing our verb of the day. I know it's going to be a good one. Let's see what it is. Ooh, to remember. To remember, but not only to remember, ladies and gentlemen. Today we'll talk about two verbs, to remember and also to remind. So remind and remember. So to remember, let's first conjugate the verb, and we'll always conjugate every day, I, yesterday, and lately, putting it in short sentences. So can you conjugate the verb, Mamen?
Yes. Today I remember.
Yeah,
yesterday I remembered.
Okay.
And lately I've remembered.
I've remembered. Good. So it is a regular verb. And now the verb to remind. Can you conjugate that verb, Claudia?
Yeah, today I remind.
Okay.
Yesterday I reminded.
Reminded, yeah?
Yeah, and lately I've been reminded.
I have reminded.
Oh, I had reminded.
I have reminded. Okay, so remember, every day I remember. Yesterday I remembered. Lately I have remembered. Every day I remind. Yesterday I reminded. And lately I have reminded. Good. Let's take a look at our uses of the verb. First we have to remember. Acordarse de. To remember. Now what you have to remember is internal, okay? You remember things. Do you remember a lot of things from when you were 10 years old, Mamen?
Yes, I remember quite a lot of things when I was 10 years old. From when I was 10 years old.
Okay. Ask Claudia if she remembers a lot of things from her childhood.
Do you remember a lot of things from your childhood?
Yeah, not so many, like in a dream, no? A little bit.
Okay. But I'm sure you have fond memories.
Yeah, I grew up in the countryside, so in the middle of nowhere. So yeah.
Where did you grow up?
In a ranch in Salamanca.
In Salamanca.
So I did
in a ranch. No, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Not many children to play with.
But I'm sure you had a lot of nature, a lot of natural things to enjoy. Okay, good. Now, to remind is recordarle a alguien. To remind. So to remind is basically to cause someone to remember.
Yeah.
Okay? So, for example, I write notes to myself to remind me to do things, right? Mamen, do you do that? Do you write notes to yourself to remind you to do things?
Yes, I have to do that because I am a very forgetful person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So to remind, to make someone remember. Do you have to remind, for example, your friends about things?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
And myself.
Can you give me a long answer? Yes, I have to remind.
I have to remind my brother to congratulate me on my birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you call him up and say, hey, it's my birthday today.
Yeah.
Come on, I'm calling to remind you.
Yeah.
Okay. I do the same thing with my brother. We call each other, it's Mom's birthday. I'm calling to remind you, to help you remember. Okay? Finally, remember is internal. Okay? Remember is internal. I want to remind you, I've already mentioned it, but I want to remind you that remember is internal. Okay, and to remind is external. So to help someone else remember, or to help someone to not forget. Okay? Now, Claudia, will you remember this, or should I remind you later?
I think you should remind me later.
Okay, so that you don't forget. All right, I think you understand the uses, don't you?
Yes.
No problem?
No problem.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on now to the translation challenge. Ah, yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the translation challenge. Here, you know how this works. You will see the sentence, vas a ver la frase en español y 3 opciones en inglés. Y tú, en casa, tienes que elegir la traducción correcta para ganar 5 puntos. 5 points. Okay, so remember, you will have 5 seconds to choose your answer.
Okay.
Mamen, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, ask her if she's ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah, more or less.
Yes.
More or less, okay. She's ready. Okay, let's hear example number 1.
No me acuerdo de su nombre, de ella.
De ella. Okay. Option A. I don't remember of her name. Option B. I can't remind his name. And option C. I can't remember her name. You have 5 seconds. Mamen, you're very confident. No problem, right? No problem?
No problem.
No problem.
I think so.
Okay, what's the answer, Mamen?
Sí.
She says it's C. Okay. And yourself, Claudia?
Yeah, sí.
C. She says it's C as well. And at home, I hope you have C because that's the right answer. C. 5 points for both the ladies on set. That's a good start. You're off to a good start. Can you read the sentence, please, Mamen?
I can't remember her name.
Good. Nice intonation. Good. I can't remember her name. Okay. Let's hear option or example number 2.
Siempre necesita que se le recuerde que tome su medicina.
Okay. Option A. He always needs that he's reminded to take his medication. Or his medicine, excuse me. Option B. He always needs to be remembered to take his medicine. And option C. He always needs to be reminded to take his medicine. 5 seconds. Okay. You don't have to press the button in this round. Later on, it's okay. Later on you can press it, but now you don't. She's warming it up. That's all right. Claudia, what have you got for us? What's the answer?
I think sí.
C. And Mamen says C as well.
Yeah.
Are you sure, Mamen?
Yes. I'm sure.
No problem. She says piece of cake. And they're both right for 5 points. The answer is C.
Yeah.
But I need you to read it. Claudia, can you read it off for us?
Yeah. He always needs to be reminded to take his medicine.
Good. And remember at home, always reading the sentences, siempre en voz alta en casa, always out loud, right?
Yeah.
It helps you learn much better. Okay, let's hear example number 3.
Me acuerdo de visitar las cataratas del Niágara cuando tenía 7 años.
Ah, yes. It's true. In my case, it's true. I was, cuando tenía 7 años.
Yeah.
Es verdad. Yeah.
Did you write it?
Yeah, of course, yes. Option A, I remember visiting Niagara Falls with 7 years. Option B, I remember visiting Niagara Falls when I was 7. And option C, I remember visiting to Niagara Falls when I had 7 years. 5 seconds. All right, we're gonna start with Mamen this time. Do you have the right answer, Maman?
I think so.
She says it's B.
B.
Okay, and Claudia? B. Wow. Can you read it out loud, Maman?
Yes, I remember visiting Niagara Falls when I was 7.
Correct. That's good for 5 points. Well done. Perfect scores so far. I remember visiting. I remember, followed by the gerund. I remember visiting Niagara Falls when I was 7. We could also say when I was 7 years old. It's the same. Okay, let's hear example number 4.
¿Por qué siempre tengo que recordarte que estudies?
I often wonder that. Why? Why? Okay, option A. Why do I always have to remind you to study? Option B. Why always do I have to remind you to study? And option C. Why do I always have to remember that you study? You have 5 seconds. Quickly, Claudia, quickly. Claudia, the answer?
B?
She says it's B. Okay.
Hi.
And Maman, what have you got for us? Maman says the answer is A. Ladies and gentlemen, the answer is A. That's good for 5 points, Maman. Not B, but I need you to read that, Claudia. I need you to read answer A.
Okay, why do I always have to remind you to study?
Yes. Why do I always have to remind you to study? Why do I always have to remind you to study? All right, good job. Let's take a look at our scores after the first round of the translation challenge. Let's see our scores. Let's see where they stand. Maman has a perfect score of 20 points, and Claudia with 15. Okay. Good job. Good job. Let's move on now to our other uses. Here we are in our other uses. A little something extra, a little additional information here. First, I want to talk about a reminder. A reminder. Un recordatorio, right? A reminder. So this is a noun. Something, well, what does a reminder do? Claudia? What does a reminder?
I usually write post-it.
But what does a reminder do?
Remind things to other people.
It reminds you of things, right?
Yeah.
A reminder reminds you. So you write post-it notes to yourself as a reminder. So this is a noun, un sustantivo, a noun, a reminder. So reminders are there to remind people of things or to do things, right? A reminder, okay? Next we have remembrance. Remembrance, which is the act of remembering, also a noun, recuerdo. In Canada, we celebrate on the 11th of November, Remembrance Day. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
Right? Remembrance Day, where we celebrate and we acknowledge all the people that have fought in wars for our country. And it's on November 11th. It's known as Remembrance Day. And they celebrate also in Britain as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the 11th of November, Remembrance Day. Have you heard of Remembrance Day before, Claudia?
No, never.
Mm-hmm. And what is typical on Remembrance Day? Do you know what is typical? There's a certain thing that you wear on your clothes. Do you know what it is, Maman?
A medal? No.
Well, not a medal, but people to show their support, they wear it's called a poppy.
Oh,
it's
poppy.
a type of flower.
Yes, a poppy.
It's a little red flower that they wear on their shirt, usually from the 1st of November up until the 11th, to show respect for all the soldiers that have fought and died in wars for their country. Yeah, it's called a poppy. All right, well, let's move on. Let's move on now, getting back to our translation challenge number 2. All right, here we are in the translation challenge again. And it's the same. The activity is the same, ladies and gentlemen, but now the stakes are a little bit higher. The prize is a little bit more. Instead of 5 points, now we're playing for 10 points.
Okay.
Okay? Are you ready, Claudia?
Yes.
Ask her if she's ready.
Are you ready, Mama?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, they're both ready. Let's hear example number 1.
¿Te acuerdas de todos los detalles?
Option A. Can you remember all the details? B. Do you remember every details? And C. can you remind of all the details? You have 5 seconds. Mama, you seem very confident here. No problem, right?
Yes.
She says
I say A.
She says it's A. Are you sure?
Yes, I think I'm sure.
Okay, good.
I think also.
And Claudia also says A. So, Mama, can you read that out loud for us?
Yes. Can you remember all the details?
Good. Can you remember all the details at home? Remember, out loud. That's the correct answer. 10 points. Good job for both of you. Can you remember all the details? It's good to practice good intonation as well. Can you remember all the details? Good job. Let's hear example number 2.
Ella me recuerda mucho a mi abuela.
Okay. Option A. She remembers me a lot of my grandmother. B. She reminds me a lot of my grandmother. And C. She reminds me a lot to my grandmother. 5 seconds. All right. Claudia, do you have the answer?
I think so.
You think it's C. Are you sure?
No.
She's not sure, but she has C. Okay, and Mamen? Mamen says B. Are you sure?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Mamen is sure, and the correct answer is B, in fact. That's 10 points for Mamen. But I need you to read that, Claudia.
Yeah. She reminds me a lot of my grandmother.
Yeah, so pay attention at home, okay? Fijaos, aquí. She reminds me a lot of my grandmother, right? Mamen, do I remind you of someone you know, of a relative of yours?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Is it Kyle?
You remind me of my uncle.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, why? Because of my mannerisms or something?
No, your features.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I remind her of her uncle? you
My
said?
uncle.
Okay,
yeah.
to remind someone of someone else.
When
or
he was
something.
young.
When he was young, okay. Thank you.
A compliment.
Thank you very much. Okay, so good job. That's 10 points for Mamen. Okay, let's hear example number 3.
Esta canción me recuerda al verano que pasé en Holanda.
Ah, yes. And what a summer it was. Option A. This song reminds me of the summer I passed in Holland. B. This song reminds me to the summer I spent in Dutchland. And C. This song reminds me of the summer I spent in Holland. 5 seconds. Good. A bit of last-minute shuffling there, Claudia. A little bit of last-minute shuffling. That's okay, though. Mamen, what have you got for us?
I say C.
She says it's C. And Claudia, oh, no.
I'm stupid.
No, but it's a bit difficult. But the correct answer at home, who do you trust? Mamen or Claudia, or neither? Well, the correct answer is, in fact, C, Mamen. That's good for 10 points. Well done. I need you to read that, though, Claudia.
This song reminds me of the summer I spent in Holland.
In Holland. What nationality are the people in Holland?
Dutch?
They're Dutch, yeah. But it's not Dutchland, it's Holland. Or the Netherlands. The Netherlands or Holland, but not Dutchland. Right? Okay, very good. So that's 10 points for Mamen. Let's move on to example number 4.
Me cuesta recordar los cumpleaños.
Es verdad. It's true. It's true, yeah. Option A. I have trouble remembering birthdays. B. I have trouble to remember birthdays. And C. I have trouble remembering the birthdays. 5 seconds. A little bit of basic grammar here. A little bit of basic but important grammar. Have trouble. Okay, Mamen.
I say A.
A. Okay, and Claudia?
B again. I'm obsessed with
B
B.
again. And at home, what do you have? Hopefully you've gone with Mamen this time because she's right. The correct answer is A. I have trouble remembering. So have trouble is followed by the gerund, the gerundio, the ing, right? I have trouble remembering birthdays. Can you read it, please?
Yeah, I have trouble remembering birthdays.
Okay, I have trouble remembering birthdays. Good. All right, let's take a look at our scores here after the second round of the translation challenge. We have Mamen with 60 points and Claudia with 25, but don't worry, Claudia, it's early. It's the first program. Don't worry, you're doing just fine. Okay, let's move on now to our expression of the day. All right, I have a confession to make, ladies and gentlemen. I have a confession. Our expression of the day today, it was difficult for me. It was challenging to think of an expression using the verb to remember. So I said to my colleagues, what's an expression with remember? And one of my British colleagues said, Kyle, remember the 5th of November. Have you ever heard this poem, Mamen?
I think so.
Do you know the origin of this? It's a poem. Do you know the origin of it?
Is it from Canada?
No, it's not. That's why I don't know it.
No?
It's British, but this comes, it's from a famous poem, an English poem that says, remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason, and plot. I see no reason why gunpowder, treason should ever be forgot. And it comes from a case of traición, treason, when there was basically a guy who was going to blow up the parliament in England, and he was caught and he was punished, and this poem was written about the story. Okay? Well, we're out of time. We can talk about that more later on, but let's move on to my favorite part of the program, the speed round. All right, everybody, this is where things get interesting. This is where things get exciting. It's the speed round. I'm going to explain this because it's our first show together, but vas a ver en pantalla una frase, bueno, una respuesta, y tú en casa tienes que formar la pregunta correcta pidiendo la información que sale en rojo en pantalla, okay? The question asks for the information highlighted in red, so pay attention to the information in red, okay? And remember, we'll have 2 minutes on the clock to start, and you have to ask the question after you press the button, the buzzer. Remember not to start until I say go. This is very important.
Okay.
All right, let's get 2 minutes up there on the clock. Can we get it up there? 2 minutes. There we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
And remember, en casa aquí restamos 10 puntos por tus errores también. Okay, so if you don't know it, best not to touch that buzzer. Okay, let's start the clock. He couldn't remember the combination. Go. Go ahead. Mamen, hit it again. Hit it again. Okay, Mamen.
What couldn't they remember? Why couldn't he remember?
Correct. That's good for 10 points. What couldn't he remember? What couldn't he remember? Good job. Next example. I had to remind him. Go. Mamen.
Who had to remind you? Who had to remind him?
Him. Okay, correct. That's good for 10 points. Good job. Who had to remind him? Good. Next example. I remember going to the park. Go. Claudia. I remember going to the park.
I remember going to the park. What do you remember?
I'm afraid not. Minus 10. Minus 10. Pass or play?
Play.
Okay, hit the button.
Where do you remember going?
Good. Where do you remember going? Good job. So that is minus 10 for Claudia and plus 10 for Mamen. Good. Next example. I couldn't remember it because I was confused. Go. Mamen.
Why couldn't you remember it?
Correct. Why couldn't you remember it? 10 points. Well done. Next example. She reminds me of Madonna. Go. Claudia.
Who reminds you to?
I'm afraid not. That's minus 10. She reminds me of Madonna. Pass or play? Pass or play?
Play.
Okay. Okay, Mamen.
Who does she remind you of?
Repeat.
Who does she remind you of?
Who does she remind you of? Correct. That's good for 10 points. Well done. We only have 2 seconds, so we're going to stop there. Who does she remind you of? Who does she remind you of? Woo, that was intense, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I have minus, no?
Very intense. Well, it was intense. You're doing okay. Let's take a look at the scores. Let's see our scores here and see how we're doing. You're down to 5 points, but that's okay. It's only the first show.
Yeah.
It's not
So
minus.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. And Mamen with 110. Wow. Very good score. Very good score. But it's not over, ladies and gentlemen. We still have another minute. Let's put another minute up on the clock.
No.
Another minute. We're not done yet. We're going to continue. One more minute, and the activity is the same. Are you ready?
We are ready.
Okay, let's start the clock. His old hat reminded me of the one I used to have. Go. Mamen.
What did that old hat remind you of?
Repeat.
What did his old hat remind you of?
Okay, what did his old hat remind you of? Correct, that's good for 10 points. Good job. What did his old hat remind you of? Next example, she always reminds me to wear my seatbelt. Go. Mamen.
What does she always remind you?
No, I'm afraid not. Minus 10. Pass or play.
What does
Pass or play.
I pass.
She passes. Okay, the question would be, what does she always remind you to do?
yes.
What does she always remind you to do? Okay, next example. Joe reminded me about the meeting. Go. Okay, quickly.
Who reminded you about the meeting?
Good. 10 points right before the bell. Wow. Well done, Mamen. Fantastic for one show. You've done an excellent job. Let's take a look at our final scores here for today's program. We have Mamen with a total of, let's see our scores here. Mamen a total of 120. Wow. And Claudia with 5. It's only the first show though, Claudia. Don't worry. You're
getting
doing
warm.
fine. You're getting warmed up, right, Calentando? You're getting warmed up. No problem. We're going to have to finish there because we're out of time for today, but you've done great. Thanks a lot, and thanks to you for watching at home. I want to remind you que podéis volver a concursar con las mismas preguntas del programa de hoy a través de nuestra página de aquí, aprendeinglés.com. All right, I have a few gifts for our contestants today. I'm going to give them those CDs right now.
Thank you.
Great job. Great job. They've done very well. Ladies and gentlemen, our contestants today will take home a copy of the Verb Circus on CD. This is 20 programs in MP3 format from our friends at Vaughan Radio. You can get your copy at vaughantienda.com. Thanks to you.
I think I need both.
They've done great. They've done great. And thanks to you for watching. And we'll see you next time on the Verb Circus.